History book tells us the great emperor Ashoka conquered Kalinga. But if you stand on the red soil of Odisha today and listen to the wind, you will hear a different truth. It was Kalinga that conquered Ashoka. Imagine it's 261 BC. You're standing on the banks of Daya River near the Dholi Hills. In Odia language, Daya means mercy. But on this day, the name is a heartbeat of irony. The river isn't blue, it is a thick, terrifying red. The water has stopped flowing because it is choked with the bodies of 100,000 Kalinga warriors. Ashoka, the man they called Chanda Ashoka, which means the tyrant Ashoka, walks through this field of death expecting to feel like a god. Instead, he looks at the blood on his sandals and the hollow eyes of the fallen, and for the first time in his life, his heart breaks. Today, we look at the day a tyrant died and a saint was born, not because of a book, rather, it is because of 100,000 fearless Kalinga warriors' sacrifices that changed Ashoka forever. Hi, I am Abhijit. Welcome to the show. This podcast is my way of bringing Odisha to the world, a beautiful, underrated state of India that deserves far more attention than it gets. Whether you grew up in Odisha or you are hearing about Odisha for the first time, you are in the right place. There is so much here to discover, and I promise it will be worth your time. Together, we will explore the moment and stories that carry Odisha's spirit, story of its heroes, its tradition, and the quiet wisdom carried through centuries. So, settle in and let's journey into the heart of Odisha, one story at a time. If you missed our last episode where we discussed the incredible maritime wealth and the rise of Kalinga, I highly recommend you to go back and watch that first. It explains why this land was so precious and why its loss was so devastating. Today, we walk about the greatest legacy of this land, the transformation of an empire. Many people think Ashoka brought Buddhism to this region. But the truth is more powerful. The deep spiritual roots and the ultimate sacrifice of Kalinga people were what finally brought Ashoka to Buddhism. Kalinga was a land of sailors and thinkers. More importantly, Buddhism was already blooming here. Long before the war, the people of this coast were already practicing the middle path of the Buddha. Ashoka wasn't just invading a territory, he was invading a civilization that valued life over power. Every household in Kalinga became a fortress, not just because they hated Ashoka, but because they loved their freedom. They knew they were outnumbered by an army of 600,000, but they chose to stand their ground. This wasn't just a battle of swords, it was a battle of souls. The battle at Dholi was an apocalypse. Because the people of Kalinga refused to surrender, the slaughter was total. Historian tells us that the Daya River literally changed color. It ran red for miles, carrying the blood of fathers, sons, and scholars into the sea. Ashoka stood at the summit of Dholi and looked down. He saw the golden land he had craved, but it was covered in the shroud of corpse. There is an emotional legend that he saw a monk sitting calmly amidst the carnage, or perhaps it was the sight of a mother weeping over a headless body that did it. In that moment, the emotional essence of the world shifted from anger to karuna, which translates to deep compassion. Ashoka realized that he had won the land, but he had murdered humanity. The Daya River didn't just carry blood, it carried away the terrible Ashoka forever. This is the part that makes this history so significant. Ashoka didn't just feel sorry, he changed everything. He reached out to the Buddhist monks who were already present in Kalinga. He realized the strength he saw in the dying Kalinga warriors came from a spiritual peace he didn't possess. He turned his back on the war. From the ports of Kalinga, the very ones he talked about in the last episode, he began exporting a different kind of treasure. He sent his children and his messenger out to Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Greece. They didn't carry weapons, they carried the Dhamma, the message of peace. The peace that today defines much of Asia was born from the red mud of the Daya River. The story of Kalinga War is a lesson for all of us today. We all face moments where our ego or our desire to win causes us to hurt others. We think power comes from standing over people. But Kalinga teaches us that true power comes from the courage to change. Ashoka didn't hide his name. He carved his apology into the rocks of the land so that for 2000 years no one would forget the cost of hate. It reminds us that even from the bloodiest ground, the most beautiful lotus of peace can grow. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are defined by how you choose to heal the world afterwards. So next time you visit the Santi Stupa at Dhuli, Bhubaneswar, which literally translates to the monument for peace, look at the river of Daya. You might not find the river today because it's gone and dried. But imagine the river there. It sends you a clear and peaceful message. It stands as a witness to the day a tyrant was tamed by the spirit of a land that refused to break. Thank you very much for walking through history with me. If you like this story, please share it. Please also like and subscribe to the channel and rate the show. Let the world know the peace started here in Kalinga. And I will see you next time.